Welcome to A1R Psychic Radio here on Moonstruck TV with Amanda Hall Psychic all the way from the Gold Coast. Look, I hope you're having an absolutely fantastic week wherever you are in this planet of ours. And look, I know there's enough chaos going on around the world with different wars and political things and weather events that let's just sidestep that for the next half an hour. Let's have a little bit of fun and sort of, try and bring a little bit of positivity into our lives, because sometimes I think, listening to the news and all the things that are going on can make you a little bit depressed. I do try and keep across, world events, but, sometimes I just want to switch off and put on some music and just be in my happy place. So this week, I'm really pleased to say that we've got a really positive, happy card for the Simply Tarot card of the week. This is one of my favourite cards. It's the Four of Pentacles. Now, look, I don't know too many people that wouldn't like a little bit of money improvement or more money coming their way. And that's what this card represents. You can see the person sitting there with money on his head. He's holding on to money. He's got his feet on his money. And this is a really bright, positive, happy sort of card that sort of says that there is sort of some light at the end of the tunnel and something that we can get a little bit excited about. Look, every time this card comes out, it doesn't mean we're going to win the lottery or the lotto or whatever. It just means that maybe there's a little bit more money to play with in our pocket than what we had maybe last week, or maybe we can just treat ourselves to some little thing and sort of make ourselves feel a lot better. But it's certainly saying money's improving and things are on the upward swing for a change, which is a nice way to feel at the moment, because I know a lot of people have been struggling with, different, monetary situations, as things tighten and interest rates go up and down and sideways and everything else. It's sort of nice to sort of think that there might be a little bit of a reprieve there, that maybe we can just have a little treat. And that's sort of, the important thing I found throughout my life. When extra money comes in, it's important to take a portion of that and treat yourself to something, even if it's something very, very small, and say to yourself, this is your reward for all your hard efforts. So when I see this card, it always makes me smile. So this week is going to seem on the astrological front as if it's the Pisces week, because just about every planet is sitting in Pisces, or every configuration, not quite, but almost. And I am going to focus on that, but I want to be very clear at the beginning of this. When I'm mentioning that, everything is sitting in Pisces, it doesn't mean that it doesn't affect the other 11 signs. What it means is it's more watered down. So it's going to technically affect the Pisceans, Cancer, Scorpios, and the opposite sign of Virgo. And then it's going to start to sort of wash over just very gently over the remaining 8 signs. Now, it doesn't mean that the other 8 signs aren't important. It just means that this is where the cluster of planetary configurations are at the moment, is in sort of a very tight area of the chart, that most of the activity is going on there. There's a little bit going on in Aquarius that I'm not going to talk about, because Pluto's going to be in Aquarius for a very long time. We'll have a long time to discuss that on the show. But let's kick off the show with happy birthday to all the Pisceans. And just before I came to air, they said it was Michael Bolton's birthday today. So happy birthday, Michael Bolton, if you're watching. He's one of my favourite singers. But no, we're not going to feature him on the show later on at all. So the Piscean, it's their birthday time of the year, it's their time to shine. But I want to sort of start to talk about sort of the individual planets and the configurations that they're making sitting in Pisces at the moment. And this might just help some of our dear Piscean friends understand what's going on. And I have a number of Pisces people that are very important to me in my life, and each one of them is handling this very, very differently. And it all depends on, I suppose, how much work you've done in the recent years as Neptune has been sitting in your sign. Now, for a lot of Pisceans, they've chosen to ignore the energy of Neptune and just gone about their lives and said, oh, I'll put that in the too hard basket, or put it around the corner where I can't see it. And now it's like these issues or these situations are coming back to bite them. So if you are a Piscean, or you have a Piscean partner, or somebody in your orbit is a Piscean, make sure that you get them to confront whatever is coming their way. Don't to keep putting it around the corner and say, I'll get to that tomorrow or next week or on the never, because it will come to bite them. And it's interesting because even though Uranus is not sitting in Pisces, it's almost like a Uranus feel to me, that it's coming sort of like a speeding train. It's like it's saying you've had plenty of time to prepare for this. You've had plenty of time to look at it. You've chosen to ignore that. Well, now we're going to up the ante and we're going to make it happen really fast, that you can't can't ignore it, that things are coming to a head. So if you are a Pisces or know a Pisces, just make sure that you check in with them and make sure that they're not trying to avoid things or pretend it's not happening. So we've got the part of fortune, which is not necessarily saying where we're going to find the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow with the leprechaun. And it doesn't mean we're always going to have a windfall of money. It just means that we are fortunate in our lives at the moment, that the part of fortune is conjunct or holding hands with the sun in Pisces. So it's showing you the way forward. It's showing you the opportunities. It's bringing things to light. And it's trying to show it to you in a very positive way to say, please do not ignore this. This is now time that we have to deal with this. We cannot keep ignoring things. So it's interesting that a lot of people, and not just Pisces, like to tend to ignore things. Oh, well, it's not urgent. I'll put it over there and I'll get around to it one day. You know, we all do that. We can all procrastinate. But at the moment, it is not the time for procrastination. We also have separately, in another separate conjunction, we have Saturn, the planet of discipline, structure, limitations, and the stickability in our lives is also conjunct or holding hands Mercury, which is in Pisces. So this is sort of showing us that if any Piscean has got to have a serious conversation about something official or something that's been troubling them or something that's been going on for a long time that they've been putting off and they've been sort of trying to find the right time to have that conversation, well, the time is now, because Saturn is conjunct Mercury. So Saturn is giving you the way forward, is showing you the structure, is giving you the words, is helping you sort of articulate and deliver the conversation or the letter that you need to write in a very constructive, grown-up sort of way, sort of sticking to the points, not sort of wandering all over the place, and sometimes as Pisceans can do, that, you know, they tend to sort of go off in their own little world and sort of bring back the, you know, go out there and play around for a while and bring back the best of what they saw out there as and becomes their truth. This is the time where we've got to be very structured. We've got to be very much on point. We've got to really make sure that we've got all our facts and figures. We've dotted all the I's, crossed all the T's, because Saturn is asking of that. So if you're a Pisces and you have any sort of legal or government or health issue going on at the moment, please make sure that you tell them everything. Make sure that you're very articulate, that you're very controlled, that, you know, if you have trouble sort of speaking about things, write it down so that you've got these bullet points in front of you that, now I've got to talk about this. I haven't spoken about that yet. So that you make sure that you get all these points across that are really, really important. And then, you know, we can start to see some progress sort of happening. Now, the final conjunction here in Pisces, which is separate again, is the North Node, which is not actually a planet, but this is showing us the way forward, is showing us by leading by example, opening up opportunities, opening up doors to sort of say, this is the way forward. Now, this is conjunct Neptune, which is the ruling planet of Pisces, has been there for a long time, nearing the end of its reign in Pisces, I might say. So Neptune sometimes gets a bad rap because it, you know, it's seen as the planet of the illusion and delusion. But if we don't have illusions or daydreams or things that we can manifest or think about or look at it from another angle, how are we ever going to get any creativity in our lives? Sometimes the delusional part comes from that we delude ourselves or we put it away or we don't want to deal with it because it's all too hard. It's not necessarily a deceptive delusion. It's saying it more like an avoidance than anything. So if you are a Pisces, please don't avoid things. You are being shown the right way. You're being shown, you know, get the hat out of the closet and sort of put your hat on, wear it with pride, and let's march forward into getting some things sorted out in your life. Now, if you're any other sign, it's much, much less than that. It's sort of showing you that there is new and positive ways of doing things. It's the time to be very truthful. It's the time to be very structured. It's the time to not ignore your intuition either, because Pisces is very much the intuitional sort of planet. A lot of people, a lot of astrologers describe Pisces as the dustbin, as the, you know, the final one that collects all the debris and all the rubbish and the trash. I don't agree with that. I feel Pisces has an immense energy, has an immense power, because it has creatively been able to look at the previous 11 signs and cherry pick the things that it likes and it doesn't like, bring it back and say, well, this is now part of me. So I find it a very powerful sign. It's where a lot of our creativity comes from. And as I said, I have a lot of Pisces people in my world. And when they first used to say to me, I'm going to have a mental health day, I used to scratch my head and think, what on earth are they talking about? Here in Australia, if you're going to have a day off and you're not sick, we call it a sickie. You know, you're going to the beach, or you're going to the movies, or you're doing whatever. And they used to sort of say to me, I'm having a mental health day. And what it meant was they were having a day off from having to think. You know, they rostered themselves a day off, and sort of that they could just be creative or listen to music or go to the park or go to the beach or do something that would improve their mental health. So I think we should all take a leaf out of Pisces' book in that way, occasionally roster ourselves off for a mental health day. I'm pleased to say for the first time in a very, very long time, all the planets are actually going forward for a while. May not be for long, but they're all going forward for the moment, which is nice. So the big news this week is Mars has just gone direct. Mars has been sitting in Cancer for a while now. Mars does not feel comfortable sitting in Cancer because Mars is the planet of action and dynamo and let's get going and a little bit abrasive and wants everything yesterday, where Cancer sort of says, now look, calm down, slow down. I need to feel secure. I need to feel, you know, my creature comforts around me. There's no reason to rush. So it's been a very difficult time for Mars sitting in Cancer and going retrograde, which has sort of really been sort of like he's had a ball and chain around his legs. So he's finally sort of breaking free of that and really able to sort of move forward. And I think put a little bit of a fire under some of the Cancers at the moment, getting them motivated, getting them up off the couch, getting them doing things that maybe they've been putting off for too long. Don't underestimate a Cancer. They're a very, very strong sign. They might seem like they're shy and timid and don't sort of say a lot or don't sort of outwardly react to things. But underneath all that, there's a hard strength that sort of, you know, you don't want to mess with one of them. I mean, if they make their mind up, they're very, very determined people. They might seem as if they go sideways to go forwards, but let me assure you, they are definitely going forwards. And also in the last couple of weeks, we've had Jupiter, the planet of luck and expansion and opportunity, has gone direct in Gemini. So this has been a blessing for all the air signs. Things are starting to move now. You're starting to find as if things are breaking up, that things are moving, things are crossing your desk that were sort of limited or restricted before. So don't waste this. So if you're an air sign, which is Gemini, Libra or Aquarius, or the opposite sign of Sagittarius, grab everything that's coming towards you with both hands. Don't waste these opportunities because it really, really is the time to shine. It really is the time to get out there and strut your stuff and start sort of moving because things are starting to change. And we need to be ready for those changes that are sort of happening at the moment. The moon currently is sitting in Aquarius, so it's sort of making everybody feel a little bit tetchy at the moment. It will be the new moon in Pisces towards the end of the month, so just be aware of that. But for the moment, the moon's sitting in Aquarius, so some people are sort of feeling like, oh good, I can breathe again, I don't have to deal with things aren't too emotional, and other people are finding it's very intense. It's sort of like they're very much in their head when it comes to their emotions, and they're trying to struggle with that and what's going on in the pit of their stomach, and they can't seem to bring it into balance. Look, don't worry, the moon moves every 2.5 days, so any moon sort of energy is very short-lived. So, you know, we can usually sort of hunker down and deal with it for a couple of days, and then everything sort of starts to move forward. So no matter what your star sign is, please make sure that you listen very carefully to your own instincts. It is a time of change. It is a time where things seem to be in some ways very much out of control. Things aren't always in our control, but we need to just sort of go with the flow. We need to go with the flow as much as we can and know that whatever is happening, whether it's locally, whether it's in our own family or whether it's globally, it is happening for the right reasons. There's always energy, there's always change, there's always things that need to be moved along, you know, and things can't always stay the same, no matter whether we as human beings feel more comfortable with things staying the same, even though we may not be happy with it. We unconsciously all send out an energy of change, and this is where collectively things start to change. We react to where the planets are. Whether it's conscious or unconscious, we all react in some form or another. So I hope you've enjoyed that. I get lots of messages during the week about different people saying what they took out of the astrology section. So it's here to stay on my show, I might say. So we're going to talk with our first client, Billy in Alfred in New York. Billy, are you there?
Yes.
Do you have a question I can answer for you today, Billy?
Not really, just general guidance.
General guidance, okay, Billy. All right. I always ask because sometimes people have a specific reason why they're phoned into the show, and I just want to make sure that, you know, if that's the case, that we answer that for you. Really interesting. The first thing that's coming up around you, Billy, is I want to get out I'm not a musical person, but the maracas, you know, those things that you shake and they make a noise like um, Peter Allen did on When I'm Going to Rio, you know, get out there and have a dance and be excited. So there must be some exciting things coming up in your life, Billy, over the next few months. They don't often show me musical references like that. So I'm feeling quite excited for you. So have you been working diligently in this last 6 to 8 months towards bringing change into your life to bring things more into balance the way that you want them to be?
I guess so.
You guess so. Okay, well, you're the only one that knows how your life's going. You know, if you've been consciously working towards change, then certainly change is coming, and it's coming in the way of, I don't mean you've got to take up a musical career. I mean, the reference that they showed me to that was that you were free and happy and excited, and, you know, life was going to be like a party. It's something to get excited about. So you don't know of anything that's coming up that could put you into that mood?
Well, I have a daughter headed to college and a sick mother, so I'm kind of in between.
All right. Well, it's a
Taking care of
celebration
both
with
of
your daughter
them.
going off to college, isn't it? I mean, you know, that's a milestone in any mum's book, you know, getting your children to that point where they can sort of start to spread their wings and be excited. Maybe she's the one that's going to go partying and you're going to be worried about her. That
Oh boy.
could fit. But
Lots of
as
prayers,
far as your
lots of
mum,
prayers.
what, sweetie?
What did you say?
I said, no, you said something and I talked over the top of you and I didn't hear what you said, sweetie.
Oh, my mother has dementia.
Right. Okay. Well, that's not an easy thing to live with, and I'm certainly sure you're not going to get the maracas out and sort of do the jig with that, because that's a very difficult place to be with somebody that you love, watching them fade away, and sort of, you know, some days are good and some days are not so good with it. Look, I just know from what I'm picking up around your mum's energy is things aren't going to necessarily get any worse. It's like we've got to the worst part. It's now just sort of more of the same. But it's interesting because I don't even think your mum acknowledges, even in her good times, that there's anything wrong with her. She still sort of feels she's got all the faculties, that everything's, you know, great. And then when she
Yeah.
goes into the other altered state, it's like you can't reach her. It's like there's nothing there. I'd like to say that there was a magical cure, but there isn't. We know that. But for now, I think she's happy. She's comforted. She's not feeling anything untoward. And I think that's probably the best message I can share with you, is that she's not feeling any pain. She's not noticing anything different. You know, when she's in a good, happy place, that's great. And when she's in the other altered state where she doesn't know who you are and what's going on, she doesn't feel any different. So that's a real testament to you and how you're taking care of her. So, you know, it's hard. I know it's hard to watch somebody slip away like that. But look, Billy, the most important thing I think you need to do is just celebrate every little milestone that there is. Enjoy your daughter going off to college, and, you know, tell her to behave herself and not get out there and party too much. You know, she's there to learn as well. But, you know, be proud of her and what you've been able to instill in her and the tools that you've given her for her life. She's a very sensible young lady and she's going to do very well. So I hope that's helped you, Billy.
Thank you so much.
You're very, very welcome. And it's a lovely name, Billy. I think that's a really fitting name for a very strong, vibrant lady.
Thank you, dear.
You're very welcome. We're going to talk with Elvin now in Buffalo, New York. So it's New York's turn this week. Are you there, Elvin?
Yes, I am.
Do you have a question I can answer for you?
I just wanted to see if you see my family reuniting with my youngest daughter.
Okay. Well, family issues are always tricky, aren't they? When we get a lot of different personalities that have different versions of their version of the truth of what's happened and what they want and what they don't want. Why do I sort of
Absolutely.
feel that there's a number of people in the family that are jealous of your daughter? Yet to me, that shouldn't come into the equation.
Hmm.
Look, I do
Yeah, I'm
think.
not sure.
Well, pardon?
No, I was saying I'm not sure why that would be.
No, I'm not sure either. But that was the first thing that they sort of showed me from the other side, was that, you know, sort of like this family sort of rift has been partly caused by this. Yet to me, I don't see any reason to be jealous of another person. If somebody's lucky enough to have a skill that I don't have and they have it, well, that's terrific. And, we should celebrate that and honour that. We shouldn't be sort of looking at and thinking, well, why she got that and I haven't. That's a very negative, lower vibration sort of thing. Look, to answer the question that you asked, will you be able to reunite the family? I think the answer is yes, but I don't know that it's going to be this year. It's going to be a very slow process. It's going to be sort of one little tiny baby step at a time. I want to sort of more focus on your daughter that, to me, she's got the really right sort of energy. She doesn't have a negative bone in her body. She likes everybody. She tries to do the best she can for everybody and embrace everybody and treat them equally. And I think that's something to be celebrated, that to me, she's showing much more maturity than a lot of other members of the family. And, she can lead by example. She's got a beautiful energy around her. And I'm sure you agree with me with what I'm saying with your daughter. She's just somebody that is really, she doesn't consider she's special, yet she leaves a beautiful energy wherever she goes.
Yes.
And that may be what they're jealous of. I'm not sure what they're jealous of. To me, there's no reason to be jealous. Everybody's got an opportunity to shine in some sort of way. We're all different. And your daughter, to me, just wouldn't do anybody a bad turn deliberately. If anything, she goes out of her way to make people feel comfortable and, to help them in whatever way she can. I'd like to see her focus a little bit more on herself than, trying to make sure everybody else's needs are met. But look, I think towards the end of this year, there's going to be sort of a little bit of a breakthrough here with this. I'm not saying everything that you want, but certainly it's heading into the right territory from about August onwards. Is your daughter ready to take on something new or something big in her life? Is she?
No, actually, my youngest daughter, she's actually she turns 5 tomorrow.
Oh, and that's the one
I'm
you're
actually
talking
thinking
about.
of. Yeah, I have an oldest
Right.
daughter. She's 18, but she's been around. She's with the family. But I have a 5-year-old that I just been going through some problems with the mother. So she's kind of been out of the picture. And I see her once in a while because I got to see her through like visitations and whatnot. But my family hasn't seen her since June.
Oh, dear. Yeah, but I think there will be a breakthrough with that. It's interesting because they were giving me crossovers between the two girls. Your eldest daughter, I feel she's about to sort of embark on something, quite big, quite major in her life, and she's a little bit nervous about that, but that will be fine. But the youngest one was the first one that I was picking up with this most beautiful sort of energy that, she can sort of walk into a room and make everybody melt. And I don't understand why, the mother of that child could be, well, maybe she's jealous of her daughter's ability to make everybody happy, and she can't do that.
Yeah.
Sometimes people get strange ideas in their head sometimes. So your daughter, I take it, then lives with the mother, does she?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Look, I don't think your family's done anything wrong. I think she's just trying to use, the ability for you to share your daughter with your side of the family as a weapon. So I think the more that you don't argue with the mother of your daughter, the better it's going to be, that eventually she's going to sort of see that, she's not gaining anything from this. And I think as she sort of wants to step out in her own life a little bit more, don't be surprised if all of a sudden you're offered more access or you're offered more opportunity to spend time with your daughter because it suits her and her new life. I think the mother of your youngest daughter is going to meet somebody and she's going to want to spend more time, having a private life, shall we say. So I do think things will turn around. It's interesting because it doesn't matter what she does or what she says or how she tries to change the 5-year-old's mind on your side of the family. It doesn't work. Your daughter sees through all that. Your daughter's just a very, very well-adjusted, lovely little child, and she's going to grow into a beautiful young lady who people just are really in awe of because she's just got this energy about her. She can make everybody happy except her mother. So does the mother have some sort of emotional illness or something that's not quite right there?
That's what we're all thinking. Yes, absolutely. There's we think she definitely has some kind of mental issue. Absolutely.
Yeah, and because I'm not a doctor and I can't sort of define that, it was just, that's why I used the word emotional illness, because to me, she was all over the place emotionally. One minute she's happy and she's focused and she's like this, and the next minute she's a raving lunatic and nothing makes any sense. And, you know, you could have had a decent conversation an hour ago and then all of a sudden it's like, well, I never said that. You know, it's very peculiar.
100.
And and it's hard to deal with someone like that because you never know when you've got them. Or, you know, are they absorbing it? Are they telling the truth? Are they going to stand by what they've said? You know, look, I don't ever like to predict things like this, but I'm going to tell you anyway because it's come up 3 times now. I think you need to be prepared for the time when maybe you'll have the opportunity to have full custody of your daughter, and I don't think it's that far away.
Yeah, we're actually in court right now. We have court next month. And she actually canceled a visitation I was supposed to have with her tomorrow. So this is 2 weeks in a row, and she's not abiding by any court orders or anything like that. So she's been making life very difficult for me lately. So.
Look, all I can say to you, again, it's one of those tricky areas we can't discuss legal matters, it's along with health issues, but right. I can say to you, keep persevering. I did see you with custody of your daughter. I don't know how old she was. She certainly wasn't a teenager, I'll put it that way. So, you know, keep persevering, keep going. As much as it might be difficult and you don't understand what's going on and, you know, using your daughter as a weapon, just keep documenting all this, keep up with your legal team and just do what's necessary. But I know by August there's a massive change. I don't think that's when you're going to have custody of your daughter, but I think that's when things will change, that your side of the family can spend a little bit more time with her and things will start to sort of move forward from there. So I hope that's helped you, Elvin. We've come to the end of the show. My heart goes out to you with your legal battle over your daughter. And it's interesting because lots of people around the world are facing the same sort of issues as Elvin is. And it's always very tricky. It's always very difficult when we're dealing with, you know, custody battles of children and things like that. I don't know why people can't put the children's needs first. Anyway, this week I'm going to feature a song that I haven't featured before on the show, and it's always sad when we hear news in the media of different famous singers, people that have been an influence in my generation anyway, have brought out some amazing records that they pass away, and it's sort of like, oh my goodness, you know, it sort of really hits home that none of us are getting any younger, and all these amazing singers and songwriters are finding their wings and flying away. But they leave a legacy behind of the most amazing songs and songs that they performed over the years. And yesterday we had the sad news of Roberta Flack passed away. And she's always been one of my favourite singers. I'm really into the Motown type of soulful sort of music. I know I like David Cassidy and John Farnham, but I do really like the Motown music as well. So I'm going to leave you this week as a tribute song to Roberta Flack and her family and all her fans around the world. One of her most iconic songs, which when I first heard this, it reduced me to tears, and it still does to this day. It still stirs up emotion in me. And I was a very young teenager when I heard this song, and it's the first time I ever saw your face. So enjoy the song, and our hearts go out to Roberta's family. Bye for now.